Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cartoon Season. I am Tyler, and more talking about cartoons. Today we're gonna be talking about some Big Hero 6. In news in celebration of Baymax, the Disney Plus series that's coming out. If all this goes to plan, Baymax series should be airing today, the day that this episode drops. So, hopefully it does. And yeah, so we're gonna talk about a few things. We'll talk about Tadashi's the Baymax character, the little healthcare thing. How much he helps Hero throughout the film, and how not only is it Baymax helping Hero, but it is Tadashi. Even though he's not there anymore, he is still able to help Hero grow and become the person that he always knew Hero was gonna be. And then I want to quickly talk about the team because I think they deserve a quick shout out. And then lastly, talk about the twist at the end, which has to do with Robert Callahan and Alistair Cray. That's going to be fun. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So let's start talking about it. So first, like I said, the biggest theme throughout the film is Tadashi helping Hero through Baymax. So in the beginning, Hero he participates in robot fights, which is really cool. It's a really cool way to start the film. With Hero, what's the word? Hustle. Like he was hustling those guys. Where he's like, oh no, I'm just a kid. I just have this scrawny little robot thing that gets destroyed into pieces every time it's touched, and then for it to enter kill mode and just destroy the other robot. That was really cool, but but it did kind of set the precedent for what Hero is like, and what he's trying to do, and how much he is kind of fighting against whatever Tadashi is, and kind of his way of doing things, like his nerd school. But then Tadashi brings him to that nerd school, and that is a great moment because you can already tell, as they're walking up the steps, how this whole scene thing is gonna go, right? That by the end of it, Hero is gonna love it and he's gonna want to go to the college because Tadashi's like, no, this isn't lame. We are smart, my friends are smart, and we're building some dope stuff, stuff that could actually affect the world. We're not just, we're not here for incremental change. We're here for radical change. And so, kind of the exclamation point on that is Tadashi showing off some Baymax. And that's great. After seeing all the other people's projects, I think in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, cool. What do you think Tadashi's working on? What's his thing? And you see, oh, it's this healthcare doctor robot that's legitimately gonna help people. It is going to make people's lives better, in ways that maybe regular doctors can't, or maybe regular doctors don't have the means, you know what I mean, with them being human. And so that's really cool. And then Tadashi basically shows Hero why he should want to attend college and do great things. Because again, Hero, he's just been using his brain to fight robots and get some money. Right, which is cool, especially at his age, with you being a young teenager, I'm sure that's awesome, right? Because as a teenager, that's all, that is really the goal. To be like, hey, I'm old enough to make money. How can I make as much money as possible to fund whatever dumb stuff I'm into, But Tadashi being the older brother is like, hey, no, you should you're smart. He graduated college at 13 or something, or not college, graduated high school at 12 or something, ridiculously smart. It's you can do things to change the world, which would also bring some money, so you bring some cash on the table, but you can, not to put a burden on you, but you can do some crazy stuff if you apply yourself. And so Hero does. He develops microbots, which is still a really cool idea. The abilities, the options are limitless, right? You can do anything with these things, and it's really a great moment. It really is the end of Act 1 almost, where it's wow, if it ended here, this would be a nice little short film, right? With like, Tadashi instilling some confidence and some newfound inspiration into Hiro, and then Hiro developing this crazy new thing that can again help a lot of people and really push forward like technology as a whole. Unfortunately, Act 1 has to end, and it ends with Tadashi being killed in the fire, trying to save Professor Callahan, and that was a tough moment. I think that watching a Disney film, there's always that stereotype of like the parents always being dead. Like in every Disney film, at least one of the parents is dead, and many times in the film, the parent or parents die in the film. That's just kind of how it happens. And so, in hindsight, we should have seen this coming, because there's no dad. We don't really see a dad, but the mom is there. We don't really think anything bad's gonna happen with the mom. The mom isn't super involved in the story. But we got Tadashi, getting Tadashi and Hiro getting way too close. Way too much of a father-like figure. So for him to die, it's like, oh no, not Tadashi. But one silver lining is that Baymax comes to life post Tadashi. He tries to heal Hiro, right? So so this is the first real introduction to Baymax. We see him earlier on, of course, but this is the first time where it's like, okay, we're really interacting, we're having some back and forths, and it even goes further into not just helping with a wound. He's here to stay. He's here to stay until Hiro tells him that he's satisfied with his service or whatever. And so Hiro uses this to get him out of here. And, he tells him that, Baymax discovering where the broken microbot is going, or what it's trying to do, will help heal him. And so Baymax is like, all right, objective is on the list. I know what to do. Here we go. And, it's a fun time. Baymax is a nice kind of comedic relief throughout the film. He's very quirky, very like, taking things at face value because he's a robot. So like whatever you say, like that is what he does, or that's what he hears. Rather than having like the human element to it, where it's like, oh, there's things like sarcasm, or oh, there's things like, there's phrases or idioms, or something that you have to interpret. You can't just read it as black and white text and act as what it says. But he succeeds. He's able to find, that big warehouse of mass-produced microbots. And again, this just further goes to show, like, Baymax being helpful in ways that Hiro never really thought. And even, like, beyond the grave almost, like, through Baymax, Tadashi is helping Hiro discover what happened, because that's a big thing for Hiro. He wants to know what happened. He wants to avenge his brother. And as he gets closer and closer, he just gets more and more tunnel visioned. And then Baymax still trying to help. He keeps Hiro connected to the college friends, which is really nice. I'm glad that they weren't just in the first act and they weren't just kind of fodder. They are consistent throughout the film. And they do have their own little quirks. I'll get to them after, but them helping out and being there, especially just emotionally being there, but then also actually being involved is so great. And then later on, Hiro trying to make Baymax a weapon. This is like the lowest point in terms of Tadashi's invention and Tadashi trying to reach Hiro. This is the complete opposite of what his intentions were, and it's just sad. It's sad because it is someone who's grieving and someone who feels like this is what I need. Like you said that you'll do anything to, help me heal and make me feel better. Well, this is what I need. And, it gets crazy because, like, Baymax to me, like, the point of the film to me was never to evolve Baymax into an AI. You know what I mean? Like, I do like him being limited, and I do like him still focusing on helping people and like kind of evolving that way, rather than him just being a robot, who is exactly like a human. I don't really need that. But evolving just a little bit and like being like, no, this isn't what Tadashi would want. And then even for him to show Hiro, Tadashi's healthcare clip or chip, and then, because that has little video blogs or whatever, of Tadashi's test runs for Baymax. That's Baymax being like, hey, here's a reminder as to what what I'm supposed to be. And then even through that, Tadashi basically talking to Hiro, and getting through to him, saying like, hey, this isn't what you need. This will not bring you closure. And we've seen that a bunch of times before in movies and, like the revenge tale, but in the end, revenge isn't what's going to be satisfying, because again, you've heard it a million times, but killing that person is not going to bring your loved one back, so like, as much as it might feel good when you do it, it's not going to take away like the emptiness that you feel. And then you've also murdered somebody. So now you have that weighing on your brain for the rest of your life. And so kind of the end of Baymax's run, we got Baymax sacrificing himself to help Hiro and get him out of that teleportation portal. Another very sad moment. This movie has a surprisingly amount of like emotional gut punches that I wasn't expecting. And it sucks in the best way. And then at the very end, a little bit controversial in my mind, because Baymax is able to be recreated using the healthcare chip, because part of me doesn't like that, because it's like, does that like ruin the sacrifice? Like, he's not human, so he didn't really die, but like, does that kind of erase the emotional impact of his death? But on the other part, it's like, I don't really think it does. I think the moment is still impactful, and I think him coming back is also nice because now he's able to kind of, because we know that like Hiro has grown and he's made the right decision. So now that he's this new hero, now with Baymax, I think they can do great things for the world. So at the end of the day, it's good. It's good. But yeah, so that's kind of the arc, and that's kind of the moments where Tadashi is helping Hiro through Baymax, and not only when he's alive, Tadashi is able to help Hiro, kind of give him that extra push towards the right, the right way of thinking, but then through Baymax he's able to still course correct. And there are a couple dark moments, a couple low points for Hiro, even with Tadashi and Baymax's help, but at the end of the day, it all works out, and Hiro, grows into this new person with this new sense of purpose and all that stuff. So very nice. And then, like I said, quick shout out to the team. I think that they were very important. I think they were in the movie the perfect amount. They weren't main characters, they weren't right there with Hiro the whole time, but they also weren't just treated as some side characters that are just there to, for a purpose. Like they are there to be more than that, to help Hiro, to give him emotional support, to have some really cool action sequences that weren't necessary, but they were dope. So just to kind of touch on each of them real quick, we got Fred, who's the comic book fan, which is great, because he's just kind of seen as like this guy who just kind of hangs out, not really too smart, so we're not really sure how he fit in, how he got in with all these guys who seemingly probably met up through their love of like science and technology and all that stuff. But he's also rich, which is a great plot twist. Or to be like, oh, he's like rich. Why has this never come up? But then he ends up getting a dragon suit, dinosaur suit, whatever, Godzilla suit. And it matches him perfectly. It's great. It's awesome. Then we have Gogo, who chews gum. That's the personality trait. She also rides a sweet bike, which is awesome. She's more like the strong silent type, basically. But at the end of the day, she gets a cool Tron suit with discs, and like she can like skate on them. Awesome suit, very cool. Then we got Wasabi, who he's a very cautious fellow. He's like somewhat somewhat OCD, or like on like that scale somewhere, I feel like. He kind of reminds me of okay, this is gonna be a connection that might not be necessary, but if you guys ever watch The Boys, it's a superhero show on Amazon. there's a character there called I think his name is like Mother's Milk or something. It's ridiculous. But he reminds me a lot of him because he kind of has like the same mannerisms and stuff. But then Wasabi, he's very into lasers. That's like his thing. And he gets like improved laser powers for the end. That's his like superhero thing. So it's very cool, very very powerful character as well. Then we have Honey Lemon, who's into chemistry. Very cool. Very much an optimist. Very much sees like the good in every situation, or at least tries to. Tries to keep everyone upbeat. And then she has like these paint bomb orb things, which are a lot cooler than they should be. Able to throw a bunch of them at the same time, able to like make it stick to stuff, and like it's cool, And another thing I really like about all of these characters and like their like powers, or like they're like tech super stuff, is that none of them are really overpowered. I like when stories are able to give people powers that aren't just like crazy good, because it's like, oh, that's kind of cheating, like it's like, oh, these people are super smart, sure, but you're just gonna give them all powers that just make them unbeatable. That's not fun, So for them being like, okay, we're gonna actually kind of think outside the box a little bit, and like, have these like paint bomb orbs, for example. Like, that's not something that I think people would think of as like a power they would want, or like an ability they would want. But just having that and like having it in tandem with all the other powers, all the other suits and stuff, I think it's smart and it's fun to watch. But then off of that, finally I do want to talk about the twist with Callahan and Cray. So Callahan at the beginning is seen as just a very nice professor guy, right? He's the guy, he's done a lot of stuff for tech, he's the guy at the college. Why wouldn't we like him? Very likable character. And then Cray is the cunning tech CEO, right? He's the slime ball. He's the guy that you want to look out for. He's the guy that's trying to monetize advancements, right? He's the one that's trying to be like, we don't want to develop technology to help the human race. We just want to develop it so we can make money. So why would we not like him? Or why would we like him? And even further with that, he tries to buy Heroes Microbots. That's a very consumerism, capitalistic way of thinking. So we're like, we don't like this guy. Why would we side with him? He's just trying to buy it for his own personal gain. He doesn't care about the advancements. He cares about the patents and all that. But Callahan is able to steer him away and be like, a little heavy-handed too. Like, you really shouldn't do this. You should. It's your thing. You should develop it. It should be yours. You should have credit for this. All that stuff. And Cray's like, hey man, you just walked out on $1 billion. And then something sad happens. Callahan also dies in that fire. It's like, oh no. 2 characters that we love. I mean, we like Tadashi a little more, but 2 characters. Oh no, the fire. We have to. Fire is public enemy number 1. And then we go a little bit further. We got the whole like microbot situation that we already know about. And we see that there's footage of Cray doing portal experiments. And again, it just doesn't put him in it doesn't paint him in a good light. And so we're just like, man, it's definitely Cray, right? Like it's gotta be Cray, especially with like the, what like Fred said, where he was like trying to compare it to comic books and stuff. And it's like, oh, well, clearly it's Cray. Like all the dots, all these dots that we have, if you just connect them, clearly Cray. But then it's revealed that one of Cray's experiments, or during one of Cray's experiments, one of his employees died during the experiment. Very sad, very sad. But that was Callahan's daughter. And so now the paradigm has shifted, because now it's like, wait, hold on. Now we start seeing those dots in a different light. We start connecting them in the other way they can be connected. And we think it's Callahan. Then there's like proof and stuff of like footage of Callahan surviving the fire, him taking control of the microbots and creating like a shell around him to live. And then he's actually unmasked, officially unmasked as the yokai. And it's like, no, you were the chosen one. Like, you were supposed to be the one that was morally, above everyone else and like creating stuff for the goodness of the culture. And now it's you that's stealing my stuff. It's you you were the one that pushed me to do this, and now you're the one that's going against it. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, it makes sense, but it's just a fall from grace. And Callahan is basically trying to destroy everything that Cray loves. It's like, man. And, it's a very nice mirror as well, because you see that Callahan is doing exactly what Hiro was trying to do. Revenge. It's all about revenge. It's all about Hiro doing everything he can to find Tadashi's killer, and just destroy him. But Callahan's doing the same thing, where he lost someone he loved, and now he's like, I'm going to make him suffer. But through everything, Callahan does fail with Tadashi and the crews, the Big Hero 6, right? He doesn't get arrested. It is bittersweet. Because he does lose and everything, which is good. But he doesn't see it as a complete loss, though, because his daughter is alive. They like bring her back. And so like, you kind of see it in his face where he's like, dang, this sucks. I'm going to probably be in jail for a long time. But at least my daughter's alive. I thought she died. So that's cool. But yeah, so that's kind of the big twist. I'm sure if maybe you paid more attention, there's people out there that probably called it. I didn't call it when I first watched it. I was like, oh, that's Cray. It makes sense. All the evidence leads to Cray. Makes sense. But yeah, after it's revealed, it's like, oh, this makes even more sense. But to be fair, there was information that was being withheld from us. Like, we didn't know that Callahan's daughter, you know what I mean? So if we knew that, I think we would have much more quickly thought it was Callahan. But yeah, that is Big Hero 6. Very good film. Very excited to watch Baymax, to see what kind of shenanigans Baymax and Hero get into, and also maybe what more tech that he develops. Hopefully we see more of the team as well, the other Big Hero 6 members. And yeah, I'm excited to watch it. Let me know what you thought of the movie Big Hero 6. Let me know how excited you are for Baymax. Where is it? Where's the excitement levels at for you? Is it high? Is it low? And yeah, that's pretty much it. So please go check out other episodes of Cartoon Season on the Tiger to YouTube channel, or on your podcast platform of choice. Links are in the description of everywhere you can find this podcast. And also check out some other content I make. I make some reactions to animation. I play some games, some video games. I'm a gamer. I love the term gamer. It's so funny. And yeah, until next time, let me know what other cartoons, anime, movies, that sort of thing you want me to cover. And make sure to watch more cartoons, including the Baymax show.